So I've made two videos about power creep in Pokémon, and both have been absurdly successful. And as a thank you for that, I wanted to make another video about this subject. Most importantly though, this is the first ever video suggestion that'll be turning into a video. So thank you for giving me this idea, Austin Zavalga, it's a very good one. Another comment that inspired me to make this video, though, is from Nikki75, where they vehemently disagree with my assessment of Zapdos. And while I still stand by my claim of Zapdos not being immune to power creep, I do agree that it isn't a victim of it, and it's because it eventually rose back to OU. And that's where the concept of this video lies, as it revolves around Pokémon who were once in a lower tier but ended up rising above that tier, and permanently staying in their new one. So, with all of that preamble out of the way, we can now finally get into it. Now, the only Pokemon we have here is Sandslash, and it's likely because of the Dex cut of Gen 8, which made Sandslash one of the few good rapid spinners that could function in PU, allowing it to find relevance again after a very rough Gen 7. Alright, now you're going to hear this a lot, so I apologize if it gets annoying, but heavy-duty boots. That's the reason why Ninjask was able to rise above 2 tiers in his transition from ZU to NU in Gen 8, as his Stealth Rock weakness was really the only thing that kept him out of an official tier. Alright, so now we actually have a roster of Pokemon to analyze, those being Golurk, who rose after finally receiving a good Ghost Stab in Gen 8 with Poltergeist, Kingler, who rose after receiving Liquidation in Gen 7, which finally gave it a stab which synergized with its ability, Mudsdale, who rose in Gen 8 due to a need to have more physical walls in the tier, Amistar in Gen 8, probably because of rain or something, and Alolan Raichu, because the addition of Pincurchin in Gen 8 synergized perfectly with it on hyper offense teams. The Pokemon who rose from NU to RU are Barbaracle in Gen 7 because of Z-moves, Incineroar in Gen 8 because of heavy-duty boots, Pangoro because the removal of Mega Evolutions and Z-moves in Gen 8 made Knockoff a significantly more spammable move, Seismitoad in Gen 8 because people finally realized its potential as a stealth rocker, Sigilyph in Gen 8, maybe because of the Dex cut. Honestly, I do not know in the slightest. This is the biggest stretch I'm making for any of these. Steelix in Gen 8, likely because of the Dex cut limiting stealth rockers, and Swallow in Gen 7 because they buffed its special attack stat. So now we're slowing down the pace a bit, with only 2 Pokemon here, and they're Gligar, who rose after Gen 6 buffed Defog, and Venomoth because of how it gained Quiver Dance in Gen 5 and later on Z-moves in Gen 7. We're going to keep the pace here slow too, starting with Serperior, who moved up in Gen 6 because its hidden ability was finally released, and Slowking in Gen 8 both because of heavy-duty boots and the annoying as hell teleport buff. But now we have our first sizable roster of Pokemon. These Pokemon rise from RU to UU being Alomomola in Gen 7 due to Stall being huge in the tier, Crawdaunt in Gen 6 because of the knockoff buff and the fact that Steel types no longer resisted Dark, Feraligatr in Gen 6 because its hidden ability was finally released, Lycanroc Dusk in Gen 8 likely because it gained access to close combat, Meloetta in Gen 7 because of Z-moves, Moltres in Gen 8 because of heavy-duty boots, Nidoqueen in Gen 8 perhaps due to the Dex cut, Rhyperior as its tools are generally more useful in Gen 8, Venusaur who's here because in Gen 8 Sun became more easily accessible, and finally Zygarde 10%, maybe because of Gen 8's Dex cut, but I don't know, this one's also a stretch. Alright, so this one is short. So all we have to cover in terms of a Pokemon who rose from RU to OU would be Clefable in Gen 6 because of the addition of the Fairy type, along with Mandibuzz and Slowbro in the same generation due to heavy-duty boots. Okay, now this one's the longest section on the script, so let's just quickly get through the Pokemon who went from UU to OU. Those being Alakazam in Gen 5 due to it getting the excellent hidden ability of Magic Guard, Bisharp in Gen 8 because of the removal of Mega Evolutions and Z-moves, which allowed it to more easily abuse Knockoff, Blissey in Gen 8 because of heavy-duty boots, Dragonite in Gen 2 because the metas after Gen 1 better accommodated it, Gengar in Gen 8 because of the removal of Pursuit, which allowed it to be more easily used, along with it gaining Nasty Plot. Powdon in Gen 8 because of it being a better overall sand setter than Tyranitar in this generation's meta, Hydreigon in Gen 8 because of its access to Nasty Plot, Kyurem in Gen 8 because of heavy-duty boots, Latios in Gen 8 due to it getting several moveset buffs, Mew in Gen 8, probably because TRs gave it even more options to craft a moveset. Scizor in Gen 8 because people finally realized the potential of its more defensive sets. Swampert in Gen 8 because of its access to Flip Turn, Mega Swampert in Gen 7 because of how Pelipper's newly gained access to Drizzle better allowed Mega Swampert to be useful, Terrakion in Gen 8 perhaps because of its access to Mega Horn, Victini in Gen 6 because people finally found out it was too powerful for UU, Weavile in Gen 6 because of the knockoff buff and the fact that Steel types no longer resisted Dark, and Zapdos in Gen 6 because of its access to Defog. Wow, that was a lot. But we're not done yet, so now we have to enter the final frontier. Alright, this is our last one, and there's not many here. The first of these Pokemon derives from OU to Ubers being Kyurem Black in Gen 8 because of its access to Dragon Dance and Icicle Spear, Magearna in Gen 8 because it was too powerful in Gen 8's meta, which was less for her to defeat it. Mega Metagross in Gen 7 because they changed the Mega Evolution mechanics so that a newly evolved Pokemon would have the speed stat of the Mega Evolution first turn as opposed to the original, and finally Zygarde 50% in Gen 7 because it got Dragon Dance. Well, that was it, so it's now time to conclude the video. Also, here's the finished spreadsheet. Hey, so 2 months before this video came out, Fufu2 released his own video on power creep. It also tackles a part of power creep that I've yet to, and probably won't, as he discusses which generation is the most power crept. It's because of all this that I would really suggest that you guys go check his video out. Well, anyway, I'll see you guys again soon.